Hello, dear students. Welcome to this session. So, in this session, let us understand the merits and the chemical bonding in the periodic table. So, when I talk about the merits of the modern periodic table, the first thing is in the modern periodic table, we can see that the elements are based or arranged on the increasing order of their atomic number. All the elements, you can see the modern periodic table, all the elements which are present in this table are arranged. They are arranged on the basis of the increasing order of their atomic number. Correct? And the second thing is the modern periodic table, it explains the reason for the periodicity of elements. I repeat, the reason for the periodicity of the elements, it has been explained by the modern periodic table. What is meant by periodicity? I told you, right? The periodicity means the properties, the elements which are having similar properties are being seen in the periodic table, right? So hence we can consider those elements as the periodicity of the elements. I repeat, the modern periodic table, it explains the reason for the periodicity. Okay, if some of the elements are having same properties, so those same properties or the similar properties of the elements are being explained by the modern periodic table. Clear? And whatever the elements which were discovered in the future, so the new elements which were discovered in the future, it could be easily accommodated or got placed in the modern periodic table. Clear? And modern periodic table, it also help to understand why elements in the group has the similar properties. When I was explaining you about the groups, I told you the elements which are present in the groups have the same property or the similar properties, right? So the modern periodic table, it helps us to understand why the elements which are present in the group are having same or similar properties. We have also seen that. So when we talk about the group, so it was having same number of valence electron, valency, correct? So there are some similar properties which are present, right? So that could be explained by the modern periodic table. Clear? And the modern periodic table also helps to easily remember the properties of the elements which are based on the position in the periodic table. So when I was talking about the modern periodic table, in my previous session I have told you, right? So if we look at the modern periodic table, so this is the table. So if we look at the modern periodic table, so all the elements which are present in this group are having the same properties. Correct? So all the elements which are present in this group are having same properties. Correct? So if we look at them, they are having the same property. This is because of the position which they are having in the periodic table or obtained in the periodic table. Clear? So now let us talk about the chemical bonding in the periodic table. So when I talk about the chemical bonding in the periodic table, we can see that left side of the elements in the periodic table, it combines with the right side of the elements of the periodic table and it forms the ionic bond. Take an example of sodium chloride. What is the sodium? Sodium is a metal, right? I told you that all the metals in the periodic table are at the left hand side of the periodic table, correct? And all the non-metals which are present in the periodic table are on the right hand side of the periodic table, correct? So in the periodic table, the left side of the elements combines with the right hand side of the elements and they form the ionic bond. What kind of bond they have been formed? They form the ionic bond. What is meant by ionic bond means? So the ionic bond in the sense, you can see when we talk about the sodium, as I told you, the sodium is basically a metal, right? So this sodium is having the electronic configuration of 2, 8, 1. So sodium can easily lose one electron, correct? So whereas Chlorine, which is a non-metal, it is having the electronic configuration of 2, 8, 7. How many electrons the chlorine need? It requires 1 electron, right? So it receives 1 electron. So it is donating and it is receiving. Clear? Sodium, it donates 1 electron, whereas chlorine, it needs or it receives 1 electron. Clear? So this is how the elements which are present in the periodic table, that is the left hand side of the elements, they combine with the right hand side of the elements and they form the ionic bond. Clear? So when I talk about the right hand side of the elements, okay, the right hand side of the elements, they combines with the right hand side of the same elements and they form the covalent bond. I repeat, the elements which are present in the right hand side of the periodic table. We have observed, right, the right hand side of the periodic table. So if the elements, if they're combining with the right hand side of the periodic table, then what do they form? They form the covalent bond. Right combines with the right, it forms the covalent bond. For example, carbon dioxide. Correct? So because both the carbon and the oxygen, they both are found on the right hand side of the periodic table. And hence these elements, they share the electron in spite of donating and receiving. Because the carbon is having 4 valence electron, correct? The carbon will share the electron with the oxygen. I repeat, the elements which are present on the right side of the periodic table, they combine with the right side of the same elements and they form the covalent bond. Because sharing of electrons is taking place here. Clear? And finally, the elements which are present on the left hand side of the periodic table, they do not combine with the elements which are present on the left hand side. This property is also very important. We have already discussed about elements of left side combines with the elements of right side. What is been formed? Ionic bond is formed. Correct? So we also have discussed that elements in the right hand side of the periodic table combines with the right hand side and it forms the covalent bond. But the elements which are present in the left hand side of the periodic table, they do not combine with the left hand side of the other elements. Clear? So this is what the chemical bonding which we have to discuss in the periodic table. So in the next video, I will be discussing about some of the solutions for the questions which is based on the periodic classification of elements. Thank you.